Hey, I'm Zanye Allen. This is Zanye Speaks. Just going to get on here and speak. I'm a licensed clinical professional counselor, also life coach. I have a lot to say. I've been watching a lot of social media. I watch tons of different things. And lately, what's caught my eye is the GloRilla and BroRilla, or AKA Scarface, GloRilla's sister, and the family drama, we'll say, has caught my attention. First, I'd like to read a disclaimer. This is for education, not diagnosis. I am not evaluating these individuals. I am using a public situation to talk about patterns many families deal with. If this topic hits home for you, consider getting personal support. I wish everyone the very best. If you really knew me, which I know you don't, you would understand my heart. So I want to talk about boundaries, family conflict, um, what symptoms look like, right? So, of course, we can all see anger, right? We understand what it looks like, but I think a lot of people don't necessarily put anger and hurt together. And I like to tell people or recommend that they envision anger the same way as if they were seeing someone cry. And it kind of changes the mood, your understanding, the tone of everything, right? If you're seeing someone yelling, yelling, yelling at you, but you just envision, no, that's really them crying. We tend to we're easier on people who are comfortable with crying versus people who are more comfortable with demonstrating their hurt through anger. But I do like to remind people it's very similar. Anger is usually embarrassment, hurt, um, unfairness, right? Inequality that also produces anger. So first of all, anger is like the tip of the iceberg. So picture an iceberg in the sea. Underneath, there's different things, but hurt is huge, right? So when I see family dynamics, anger, social media, um, I see a lot of hurt. I also wanted to say, right? So I think when people are looking at people disclosing their personal family history online, they're automatically trying to find out who's telling the truth. What's the truth? Are they lying? Is this person lying? And that's not always the case, right? There can be multiple truths, right? And so when I look at the GloRilla and BroRilla family issues currently, what's being presented to us on social media, um, I want to remind people 10 different siblings, right? 10 different siblings. Everyone is going to come out of that household with a different perspective. Now, some may have similar perspectives about their upbringing, but you're definitely going to have siblings that have completely different understandings and experiences of their upbringing. And so it is quite understandable for a person to have 10, 5, even 3 or 2 different siblings that have different experiences and how they took in those experiences, how they processed through those experiences, and how those experiences left memories, trauma, scars, growth, lessons, wisdom. And so it just depends. But that is quite frequent when you grow up in the same household as your siblings, for each of one of you to have a different perspective of how that household was and what took place in the household. So pretty cool if you think about it, just how the brain works and how we process things and how each individual is extremely different from another. And so when you hear certain people refer to their experience as being abusive or heavy or too much for them, that very well may be what they experience. And then you hear another person, well, I got through this and I did that and I was okay. And that very may well be their experience as well. Of course, it can also be stuffing emotions, things like that. Of course, we'll talk about that a little later. um, another day. But I really just wanted to get on here and give a different perspective. It doesn't, when you see hurt and anger, it's there for a reason, right? Some people wear emotions on their sleeves. Some people literally show you how they feel. They don't hide it well. And so typically emotion is not something you can joke around with or play, right? Now, of course, with online social media, lots of people play about lots of things, right? Everybody's actors, and everybody's able to do everything, and more power to them. I think it's amazing. If you're surviving this world, amazing, and doing something legal and healthy, amazing. Um, but so many different opinions, and I didn't see a lot of therapeutic takes on it. Now, not only, of course, different perspectives when you grow up in the same household, you also have, again, different results when you grow up in the same household. I always tell people, babies, they come with personalities, they come with who they are innately. And again, you can have two different children and they are completely opposite. Okay, came from same mom, same dad, completely opposite. Just their own little people. Now, of course, you have genetics. Of course, you also have things you learn. Um, and so those things help to shape who you are as well. But I always like to say, babies, little kids, they're little people. And so they're their own people. And so again, they take in information, they have their own brain. The way they process things is very different from the other. So again, there's not always, hey, this is right, this is wrong, this is a lie, this is the truth. I think when it comes to family drama, hurt, anger, resentments, those type of emotions are quite common. Resentments can be huge. They are huge. That means we haven't forgiven. It means we haven't let go. It means that there are emotions that are still tied to that trauma, that incident. When you fully forgive, you don't have any negative emotions tied to that incident, that experience. It can't sway you left or right, up, down. And so forgiveness it always is a process. We can say we forgive because, hey, I've heard someone say, I forgive because I don't wish any bad on anyone. And I 100% think that is a part of forgiveness. But that could just be a part of your personality where you you wish people well. You don't have a hurtful, hard bone in your body. And so that's quite natural to you. But does that really mean you've forgiven? I don't know. It depends. Do you have ill emotions attached to that event? Can that event sway your emotional state? And so I think forgiveness is something that takes time, and it takes dedication, and it takes focus. And a lot of the times in families, that's not necessarily a focus. It's not necessarily a decision that's been created, thought of, worked on. And so, to solve things in any relationship, boundaries, what you need and what you value, being able to express that, right, in a healthy way. We'll talk about it. Knowing what those boundaries are, which we'll talk about as well. And then how do I communicate them? What's the best way? What's the best form? How do I even structure it? How do I even know what my boundaries are? All those things become important. But it's fixable. Nothing is permanent. There are very few things in life that are permanent and stay the same. And so there's always the ability to change, grow, wisdom, time, things like that. So we will talk soon. I just wanted to weigh in. I wanted to get a therapeutic perspective of things. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I will be back soon. Zanye Speaks.